So my magic, back in the room, we've never gotten the air conditioning to work, and it's hot in our room. But we like fresh air. We don't like air conditioning. And he's right at my feet. He mostly has liked these beds, but I think both the beds are for reminding him of Pepe. And he also is just wanting to be really close to me. Pepe liked to sleep on my feet. Magic likes to stand on people's feet. I'm trying so hard to understand this dog. Right before I left Asheville, I interviewed a woman named Kim Brophy, who runs a store called The Dog Door, which is right in the corner of the building I lived in, the Battery Park Apartments, which is a grand old hotel. It had been the Battery Park Apartments. And that little dog store is really a front for her dog training. And she has a beautiful book called Meet Your Dog. And the premise is that most people have no idea how complicated and intelligent their dogs are, and that the average dog is just kind of waiting around for their master to notice that there's more going on for me than you realize. And when I interviewed her, I got just 15 minutes. I guess it was supposed to be 10, and she stayed for 15 because we loved the conversation. And somewhere I will find that interview. It's in my iCloud somewhere. But I ignited. I said, you know, Kim, just this morning I said to Pancho, who was my dog then, Pancho, I have no idea who you really are. And that conversation guided me for the next year and a half of Pancho and I, first rambling through the mountains of western North Carolina, two outlaw cowboys running the back roads of Appalachia during the pandemic. And when people would say that's too long, too many words, I started using the legend of Majo and Pancho. And our theme song was Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard, Pancho and Lefty, because so many people for a year kept saying, do you know that song? And cops, so many country cops love that song. And it became our theme song. And it's a fabulous song that I probably danced to 100 times before Pancho died, and do occasionally still, but it always makes me cry. So this dog, little Peppy would get under my feet because he had gotten terribly attached to me. But that was his notion of going for a walk, was to try to walk under my feet. And Magic is kind of that way, because when we walk through a store, he is trying so hard to walk perfectly in tune with me that he's always looking over his shoulder and going, okay, he went to the left. So he'll go left, and then I'll have to jump over his leash to go the other way, and then he goes the other way. It's pretty comical. But he's trying. I see him every day trying to understand me and what I want and how he can be a good dog to me. In the same way that, inspired by Kim Brophy, I'm trying to understand him and what does he need and what does he want. And right now, I don't understand dogs. I really don't. I think I understand dogs more than the average Joe. And I do have a magic for turning dogs into spectacular animals. I do. I'll just admit that. And it already was happening after 18 days that Pepe was turning into a spectacular animal. And what a life he would have had he had one. But they're a mystery. They remain a mystery, as the people in our lives remain a mystery. My old Zen Buddhism teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, used to say, modern science has revealed that a mote of dust contains the DNA of the entire universe. And we think we know the person in the passenger seat next to us. They're a mystery. Everyone's a mystery. Every dog is a mystery. Every person is a mystery. We're meant to spend our whole relationship with them trying to understand who they are, trying to understand where their soul is trying to take them. Who are they meant to turn out to be? Not to get something from them, but that's how most relationships play out. And I have that impulse in me. I'm lonely and horny, and there's a part of me that wants to get people. to give me things that I like, but I always have the still small voice of spirit on my shoulder saying, nah, maybe you ought to check and see what they want. Check and see, it might be something even deeper than they consciously know that they want. But where's their soul trying to go? What is it? A woman named Beth kind of seduced me early in the pandemic. We were in the cafe at the wonderful Earth Fair store where I had worked for 3 years. And it was COVID devastated, but still functioning. And I met her and her family in the cafe, which was a meeting place for all of Asheville and very special place for me. And I had such a blast with her whole family.